Hey, I'm real honored to be here. Me and Christy, matter of fact, go ahead. I need to introduce. Go ahead, stand up. Give my wife Christy a hand, everybody. There we go. We've been married. This will be 35 years. She needs a plaque or a medal or something for putting up with me being a coach's wife. But we went to a coach's outreach marriage retreat, I think in 1997. And I think we went 2 or 3 and just made an unbelievable impact in our life, in our coaching career, and just really gave us just a lot of direction. Because that early on, I mean, it's hard being married and coaching. The coaches in here know that, but it was just really made a great impact in us. So that's the reason I'm here, and I'm real blessed to do that. So what I thought I'd do tonight is just kind of tell my story. I'm a former high school coach. I coached 15 years of high school football in the state of Arkansas. Now, I will say this for you Texas high school coaches. My dream was to be a Texas high school football coach. All right, it really was. So I was born here in Irving. My parents split up when I was 6. My dad stayed here. Every time I went to visit him over Christmas, I'd watch the Texas State Championship football games. And so I always just, man, I would love to do that, and I wasn't ever fortunate. Now, I will tell you this. So in about 2002, Plano East job came open. All right, and I was at Springdale High School, and I told Christy, hey, man, we're going to go after that thing. And so we'd won championships, written books, videos, all that. I didn't even get an interview, okay? So it's harder to get a Texas high school coaching job than it is college, all right? So just wanted to say that before we got going. Okay, so I got a little video slide here. We'll make sure it works here, okay? All right, so this guy right here, all right, I was 6'3", 145 pounds. I thought I was really tough, all right? So I went to a Christian school. I grew up in a Christian home, got saved when I was 13. I always knew I wanted to be a coach, and I played every sport imaginable. Well, grew up in Arkansas, so my dream was to be a hog. All right, so I got a chance to walk on at the University of Arkansas in 1984 for Ken Hatfield, just a wonderful Christian coach. Now, you see I'm number 4. Okay, I was the third number 4. All right, that's how good I was. There was 2 ahead of me. We played in the Liberty Bowl that year, and they spelled my last name wrong on my jersey. All right, so I saw the writing on the wall, and so I went ahead and transferred. And I ended up going to Henderson State. Henderson State Division II school in Arkadelphia, Arkansas is the only school that offered me coming out of high school. And I played a wide receiver and punted. You see, I got married. So I got married when I was 22. Christy was 19. All right, so that's the reason I tell you she needs an award. But that was a really good time for me. Henderson's known for putting out coaches and all that. Well, I graduated in December, couldn't find a job. So we went back to Fort Smith where we grew up, and I drove a Centos truck out for 16 months and did that. And then so I started trying to get a job. Well, our head coach, Henderson State, passed away 2 months after I graduated. I didn't have any help. And so we barely got the job we got, and it was at a place, and it was called Hughes High School, okay? So I grew up in Arkansas is a small state. I'd never heard of Hughes, okay? So that's how small it was. Cell phones do not work there today, I promise you that. But that's our staff, me and him. Yeah, that's us. And you can see the pants colors are different blue colors. We had to go to Walmart and get them. I was assistant for 1 year. Our head coach leaves, take a junior high job, interview with the superintendent. 2 weeks later, he calls me back in. Gus, you got the job. Man, I was all fired up. The next day I found out I was the only one that applied. True story. True story with that. But it was really good for me because I was learning as I went, and they just said, Gus, make sure you make the kids act right. We don't care about winning, because I'd been fired anywhere else with the mistakes I made. But it was really good for me. And the best thing that happened while I was there is I rededicated my life to the Lord in 1994. Started looking at coaches in my ministry. Because at the time, I wasn't a very good dad. I wasn't a very good husband. I wasn't a very good example. And the Lord had been convicting me for about a year. And I went to 50-yard line one afternoon, and it's got on my knee. And it changed my whole outlook on being a father, being a dad, or being a husband, and being a coach. Now, when we were there, so this is when I knew Christy really loved me. That's where we lived, all right? We made $22,000. Now, what you don't see out there is a red Toyota Corolla, okay? So we had it, and she traded it even for a fax machine, all right? And so I get home and say, where's our car? So I traded it for a fax machine. A fax machine, she said, we got the better end of the deal. Okay, so that's a true story too, all right? So then I coached basketball, and back in the day, these new coaches that complain, okay, so I was the head football coach, senior high, head 7th grade football. I was the 8th grade, 9th grade boys basketball coach, assistant boys basketball coach, and I had 5 classes of 7th grade world geography, and it didn't bother me a bit, all right? So that was basketball. We had never been to the playoffs in football, so I got all the basketball guys to play football, all right? And in 1994, we went to the state championship game. Never been to the playoffs, and we were real fortunate. We had 21 players, but 15 could flat out play. And we got beaten in the championship game 17-13. And got down the 10-yard line, and I didn't do a great job managing the clock, calling plays. That's one of those games I probably think about once a week. Like, God, I was 26 years old, and I didn't do a very good job. But it really, we were there for 5 years, and it was a great spot to start out coaching. And like I said, I was a head coach for 4 years, and I learned by making mistakes. Then I got a chance to go to Shiloh Christian. So this was a private school in Northwest Arkansas, and it was great accountability for a young Christian coach. I mean, we went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, and it was just a super experience for us. In 1997, started running the hurry up, no huddle. And that's a 2-minute offense entire game. We were the first team in the country that ran fast-paced the whole game, and it was stealing back in the day. I mean, we were setting national records. We were winning championships. People were asking me to do instructional videos, write books. I mean, my mind was blown from little old Arkansas. But we were there for 5 years, and it was a great experience. The quarterback right there is Rhett Lashley. Okay, so Rhett's the head coach at at SMU right there, and just did a super job with that. I'm gonna back it up to the one that kind of skipped right there. Let's go see if it'll let me go back. Okay, so there's me and Christy. So that was the time that we first went to a coach's outreach retreat. And what stood out for us is, I think it was $50. Is that right? No, that's when we went. That was the time that we went to the retreat, okay? But it was $50 for the weekend. It was just a great experience for us, and so I just kind of wanted to show you. Now, I knew that wasn't the retreat, but that was the time we went to the retreat. My wife helps me all the time, all right? She's really good at it, and so, yeah, there we go with that, all right? Okay, then got a chance to go to Springdale High School, biggest school in the state, had unbelievable facilities and all that. 2005, we had one of those magical years. We went 15-0. We were the #1 team in the country. We were one of the first teams to play TV games, and we played a couple top 10 teams, fortunate enough to win. That was a really great time, as far as that goes. Now, that's when I applied for the Plano East job and didn't get an interview, okay? So I just wanted to say that. The next clip is Mitch Mustang. I had 5 top 100 players on the same team. And Mitch Mustang was a quarterback. He was the #1 player in the country, probably the best high school player that I've ever seen in person. He was really unbelievable with that. My coordinators there, the big guy to the left is a guy named Kevin Johnson. He was one of my best friends. He passed away about 10 years ago with skin cancer. He was one of those guys that was very instrumental in helping me get to where I'm at today. He would be with me today if he was still alive with that. So 15 years of high school football. Our school was splitting. And I'd had some opportunities to be a position coach in college at smaller places and all that. Well, I got the opportunity to go straight to University of Arkansas and be the offense coordinator. And that was a really big deal for me. Like growing up in the state, have influence, calling plays, got a chance to coach Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis. And that's the year we put the Wildcat in. I used to run the Wildcat back in high school, and McFadden made it famous. But that was a really neat time for me, to be coaching. We went to SEC championship game that year. We got beat by Florida. And we were winning most of the game. We fumbled a punt late in the end zone. It's when Tim Tebow was a freshman, Chris Shalik. But that was a really neat time for me. Now, we were running half the head coach's office that was there, half my offense. It got a little complicated towards the end. But it gave me an opportunity to get in college football. And then so I went ahead, and my next stop was at University of Tulsa. That's when Bill and Dean And Todd Graham, all right, the former Allen coach, was the head coach. And he said, Gus, he said, man, come here, run your offense. I want to play fast. I want to run reverses, wildcat. Really gave me a chance to establish myself as a college coach, because at the time it was like, oh, that high school offense won't work and all that. Well, we had some great players, and we're the number one offense in the country 2 years in a row, and really it opened up the door for some really good opportunities, and went to Auburn University. And just like Bill said, got a chance to recruit Cam Newton and Coach Cam. That was really something. He wasn't the Cam he is today. I mean, I got the guy that was unbelievably motivated. I mean, he was a hard worker. He didn't do all that dancing and dressing crazy back in the day. All right, now he doesn't listen to me. He does that now. But we got a chance to win a national championship, which was really neat. To be a part of that, especially kind of that. When you're a high school coach and 3 years later you get a chance to win a national championship, it was really surreal, as far as that goes. And then I started, wanting to be a head coach. So got a chance to go back to Arkansas and Arkansas State. I followed Hugh Freeze. He left me some really good players. We were planning on sticking around there for really a long time. We thought we could build that thing, and we recruited really well. We won our conference championship game, and then 11 months later, Auburn came back calling. So got a chance to go back to Auburn as a head coach in 2013. And then we had the biggest turnaround in the history of college football up to that point. They won 3 games the year before. That's the year we had the kick six, the prayer at Jordan-Hare, and we won the SEC championship, which was really neat. And, of course, we played the national championship. There isn't any Florida State fans in here, is there? I didn't ask that. All right, Chris, you got one over there, okay? So Florida State, we're winning the whole game, and then Jameis Winston throws a touchdown to Benjamin with 13 seconds. That broke my heart. I think about that once a week, too. Coaches, I don't know how y'all are, the ones that won championships, but I never think about the championships. I always think about the ones that, we just came up a little short, with that. But that was really a special year to be a part of. Okay, the next thing here, let me see if I got this right. Okay, so the kick six, all right? So there's no Alabama fans in. I really wish there was, but there's nobody in here. So I'm going to give you a little heads up on kind of how this thing, and I'm going to go ahead and play it if y'all okay with that. So it was a game that we scored with about 30 seconds left. And we were running the inside zone, and we were hand off, and we were getting about 6-7 yards every time we hand it. And then we threw a little RPO to a guy, and we scored a touchdown. The place is going bananas. So Alabama gets the ball, and they throw it down the field, and it gets to about the 40-yard line. And they call timeout, and the field goal kicker comes on. They had missed 3 field goals. They get their backup kicker in. And I'm sitting there thinking, surely they're not going to fake it and all that. And, so I went ahead and froze the kicker like every coach would. We had our safety back underneath the goal. It was a 56-yarder. And so our punt returners, a guy named Chris Davis. So we said, okay, call a timeout. Let's go ahead. And we hadn't done this one time in practice. It's always been the safety. We put Chris Davis back underneath. Well, on their field goal unit, they only had 2 defensive guys on the field, and they were the wings. So I told our guys, hey, if it comes up short, fellas, block those 2 guys. There's nobody else on the field that can tackle. So really it was simple as that as it gets going. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let this thing go. Let's see if it'll work here.
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it after the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45.
Yeah, all right, so there it is with that. All right, so a little bit of, you ever seen the head coaches in college and they got the officers with them when they go shake their hand? I was always thinking, why are these guys around me? All right, well, that night, all right, I'm glad they were. went across and shook the other coach's hand. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. I don't even know what we said. I'm an old high school guy. And, high school guys, win or lose, you go shake the other coach's hand and you tell them good game. That doesn't happen in college. But we went across, and then as soon as we got through, the fans were trying to tackle me. Christy was right. I said, you got to get away from me. And it took us about 15 minutes to get in that locker room. And it was a great locker room, and we celebrated all that. And then ESPN comes out and says, hey, Coach, hey, they need you back out there for College game day. I said, oh, no, I'm not going back out there at all. So we didn't do that, but that was a really neat deal. And from a coach's standpoint, when you're in a game, you're coaching. You're just coaching. And it doesn't matter if it's a play like that or that. You're just, you win the game or whatever. I didn't realize how big the play was until me and Christy got back home. And we're sitting there on the couch, and we go and turn the TV on and saw the play and went, wow, that's going to go down for a while. But that was great to be a part of with that. All right, so we were there for 8 years, okay? And I up to that point, never been fired, never even thought about it. And I got let go in 2020. We played an all SEC schedule. We went 6-4 and got fired. And it was about 8 weeks. Was it 8 weeks? And it was sitting around, and it was one of the weirdest things ever. But it gave me an opportunity to kind of sit back and catch my breath and reevaluate what's next in our life. And during COVID, me and Chris are always talking about, we need to give back. We're getting older, and we need to give back, use our influence and all that. And so that was a time that really got to where we're at today, that we really, as a couple, want to invest in a big picture. And so I really appreciate Coach's outreach, having me, and Christy also. Like I said, we do this thing together. 35 years, she's the team mom. We had, when we were coaching high school, we had guys over the house all the time. College, we do the same thing. And so got a chance during that 8 weeks. It was really good for me. I was planning on doing TV. I was going to do the Fox pregame show on the West Coast. You only have to work 15 weekends out of the year. It was a pretty good gig. Well, when this Central Florida came open, I told Christy, I said, that place is a gold mine. I said, that's a place that you can win the whole thing, I really believe. So we took that job, and we've been there for 2 years. And we really love it there. It's in a great recruiting place. The athletic director was my athletic director at Arkansas State. And you high school coaches in here, y'all know how important alignment is. We've got a great president. We got a great AD, and we're all in aligned, and there's great potential. Now, this NIL deal, that's a different story. Everybody's got to manage that. But it's just a super place, and we're so blessed to be there. But really, it means a lot that I was asked to be here. I'm just a high school coach. That the Lord put me in the right situation at the right time. There's a lot of coaches, high school coaches, a lot smarter than me, but all these places I've been in, I've had great coaches. I've had great players. This is a player's game. And whether it's high school or college, and some of the best players to ever play college, I got a chance to coach. So I'm living a dream. And like I said, the Lord has just blessed us unbelievably. And like I said, I'm just blessed that me and Christy are here. So thank you all so much for having me. Thank you.